Chapter 5. Mind Your Mind. What is mind? The mind is like energy. It remains a mystery, is the least understood, and is the most wasted. The mind is the element that empowers a person to think, feel, reason, understand, and make judgments. It is intangible and abstract, but it is for real. Our mind is a thought factory generating either positive or negative thoughts. We can condition our thought factory to become either like a thermometer or a thermostat. A thermometer only reads the external temperature. It has no power to influence or change anything beyond that. It is totally helpless. Whereas a thermostat has both the ability to read and regulate. It controls its environment. How should our minds be, like a thermometer or a thermostat? This is how a thermometer mind works. A man wakes up in the morning, sees the bright sunshine, and feels happy and elated. But the next day he wakes up and sees the weather damp and gloomy and feels depressed. Who is controlling his mind? The external weather. He is helpless. This is how a thermostat mind works. A man wakes up in the morning, sees the bright sunshine, and feels happy and elated. But the next day he wakes up, sees the weather damp and gloomy, yet feels happy and elated. Why? Because he has programmed his thermostat mind to be happy and elated. So, no matter what the external weather is, the weather in his mind is in his control. He is in charge of his life. If we want to have a meaningful life, we should model ourselves on a thermostat and not a thermometer. Go on autopilot. Many years ago, I was traveling to the United States with my younger daughter who was then 5 years old. The pilot was known to me, and being a friendly guy, he invited my daughter to show her the cockpit. Then he explained a few things. When the aircraft takes off, there are many unknowns, such as the clouds, the wind, lightning, and thunder, and due to these turbulences, most of the time it goes off course. My little daughter asked curiously, "What happens to the aircraft when it goes off course?" Then he said, "We have something called the autopilot. Every time the aircraft goes off track, the autopilot brings it back on track." Autopilot means that all positive behavior must become a reflex action. The one who is in charge of his life puts his mind on autopilot. Thermostat also works as an autopilot. Power of the mind. The following is a positive example of the power of the mind. Many times during our seminars, I have had defense personnel go through our programs. They tell me that up in the Himalayan mountain ranges, in the sub-zero temperatures, they have seen monks who are able to meditate without clothes. I often wonder how they don't fall sick in such extreme conditions. After a series of studies conducted with the help of the Dalai Lama in the late 1970s and early 1980s, it was found that many Tibetan monks were able to raise their skin temperature by as much as 8.3 degrees Celsius while keeping their core temperature the same. Other studies have shown that they can actually increase their core temperature as well. This is primarily attributed to a particular meditation technique called Tumo, which involves visualizing the human body as a hollow structure of light and then using a combination of breathing control methods to slow the heart rate. This is so effective that monks have actually been documented sleeping on a rocky ledge at over 4,500 meters above sea level, apart from each other with no additional insulation beyond their robes. Allegedly, they didn't even shiver, and we are talking about temperatures in the region of minus 17 degrees Celsius. The power of the mind has always been a fascinating subject, And today, it is more so than ever. The scientific community has realized the importance of the sum total of our behavior, health, and interpersonal relationships. Thoughts do in fact modify and have a direct consequence on behavior. Cultivating and practicing good and positive thoughts have a direct positive impact on behavior, environment, and achievements. In fact, the managements of most companies today are convinced that in order to compete and be profitable, they need to restructure and re-engineer the minds of individuals. If a man's mind is intelligently cultivated, it shall reap what it sows. That is, if a man thinks right, his mind will develop right thoughts and his actions are going to be right as well. Just as a gardener sows a seed, likewise we take a thought and sow it in the field of our mind. When we plant a seed in the soil of our mind, it grows. Now, whether it becomes a mango tree, a mulberry bush, or poison ivy, or a rose shrub depends on whatever we plant. If we sow a rose, it is natural that we will reap a rose. One thought placed in the mind acts as a seed for another thought. The impressions left behind by these thoughts will be stored somewhere in the field of our mind, consciously or subconsciously, directly or indirectly. Depending on how this seed is watered, these thoughts will generate other thoughts thereon. There is a multiplier effect. One seed does not give one fruit. The harvest is manifold, whether positive or negative. That is nature's law. Positive people recover faster. In an article on healing with positive thinking, Dr. Ravinder Mamtani in New York, who has been leading the research in this field, says, in many cases, if you have a chronic disease or illness, calming the mind will calm the disease or illness. Calming the mind means getting rid of the negative thinking, being optimistic, and focusing on the positive aspects. Do that and you will heal yourself. All you have to do is learn how to be calm. Control and direct your mind so that you have a positive belief system and remain optimistic, and you really do change your life. Dr. Mamtani went on to find that patients who had or who developed a positive attitude and positive feelings had better outcomes and were more likely to rebound from medical setbacks. Discover the power of the mind. Our mind has the power to make heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven. A house becomes a home only when it can shelter the body, the mind, and the soul completely. Just like the soil does not choose the seeds that are planted, our subconscious mind does not decide what thoughts to choose. Just like a farmer decides on the seeds, the conscious mind chooses the thoughts to implant in the subconscious mind. There is a gamut of conscious choices like what books to read, what music to listen to, what friends to keep, and what movies to watch. Once we have decided what movie to watch, the conscious mind closes and the subconscious mind opens to receive. When a gruesome scene appears, we feel repulsed. Upon seeing an exciting scene, we get excited, and a sad scene makes us cry. Do you think there is a magic button installed somewhere? Obviously not. The explanation is very clear. The conscious mind decides, the subconscious receives, and the body reflects. The body is a slave to the mind. It literally obeys the mind. Our mind is like a floating iceberg of which only 1/7 is visible to the eye and the rest is all underwater. Similarly, our conscious mind is only 1/7, and the balance real power lies with the invisible subconscious mind. It is also essential to clean our mind. Just like a dentist gives us a dental floss to clean our teeth, we need a mental floss to clean our minds of the excessive scum it accumulates. Mental pain and agony are worse than physical pain. So it is important to diffuse the pain. Follow the 2D approach to cleansing the mind. Develop a delete button for your negative memory. Reflect, but do not dwell on past mistakes. Develop a selective memory to accumulate successes in life, which will motivate you further, and delete the negatives and mistakes of the past from your selective memory that pull you down. Direct knowledge into wisdom. To be knowledgeable, we need to feed our mind with something positive every day. But to be wise, we need to delete something negative from our mind every day. The process of accumulation of positives and the deletion of negatives is where the transformation from knowledge to wisdom takes place. A farmer, even after he plants good seeds, needs to constantly de-weed his garden. Otherwise, the weeds destroy his good harvest. Similarly, the cleansing process of our mind should be constant and consistent. A pure mind and evil thoughts are not compatible. Therefore, only a pure mind will produce pure thoughts resulting in pure actions. Achievers put their mind on autopilot and make all positive behavior into reflex action.